On paper, she's the perfect lead for an open-world game about outlaws. It's just the fact that she's a she that's the problem. Hello fellow travelers and welcome to the Hard Light Network. Today's video is for all of the Star Wars fans out there, and I don't just mean the OGs who grew up on the original trilogy, and I'm not just talking about the 90s kids prequel trilogy fans, I'm talking about every Star Wars fan, whether they're old or new. But before we get started, if my voice sounds a little off, it's because I've been dealing with a pretty rough bout of pneumonia, so thank you to everyone who has wished me well in the Discord. And if you want to support the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe. With that being said, guys, let's get into the video. So you guys know me. As usual, I'm traveling the multiverse when I found an article that piqued my interest. And of course, by piqued my interest, I mean made me want to vomit. This is the article posted to Kotaku last year by one Alisa Marcante. And if you couldn't tell by the title or the fact that it's hosted on Kotaku, let me just tell you that we are in for some top tier gaming journalism. Of course, the article starts out strong by pointing out that a bunch of gooners are sexualizing a literal robot, and if you need the proof, here it is. Everyone really needs to calm down because even the official Star Wars Twitter page didn't know how to handle this.
Stop it. Get some help.
But I'm not here to talk about people's weird fixation with Outlaw's droid companion. Instead, the article at large focuses on this statement right here. The article goes on to read as, quote, "After Star Wars Outlaws was revealed during the Ubisoft showcase, some Gamergate adjacent gamers took issue with its protagonist, a woman of color named Kay Vess, portrayed by Venezuelan-born actor Humberly Gonzalez. Some begged Ubisoft to let them switch to a male character, as they've waited years for an open-world Star Wars game and couldn't bear the thought of navigating through it as a woman. Others lamented the lack of lightsabers and men, and said no thanks to the concept of anything else." Meanwhile, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is right there, brand new and playable, and featuring a male protagonist. But Kay Vess represents a much larger issue within gaming and the Star Wars universe, and her role is a crucial one. Star Wars Outlaws falls into one of the more unfortunate center rings of the Venn diagram of bad actors, gamers, and Star Wars fans. This is a franchise still reeling from the Mary Sue allegations and general hatred thrown towards Rey, the lead of the sequel trilogy, and as mentioned, the vestiges of the Gamergate hate campaign linger throughout the gamer culture. As such, the backlash should be expected, even if it is exhausting. I mean, of course, what sort of gaming article would this be if it didn't mention Gamergate 5 seconds into reading it? Personally, I liked Jedi Fallen Order, and while I haven't had a chance to play Survivor yet, this doesn't really address the concerns that players had about having an open-world Star Wars game. These games are hub-based with a linear story progression, and while that's fine on its own, it's a different type of experience from an open-world game. But it's this part of the article that really activates the old almonds. If you're not writing this article for Star Wars fans or gamers, who is this meant to appeal to? If a Star Wars game isn't meant to appeal to Star Wars fans and gamers, who is it meant to appeal to? The way that this article is written, the Star Wars elements and gaming elements come off as secondary, if not tertiary, to the female minority protagonist. And as we'll see here in a second, it's really billed as though this is the game's main selling point. Aside from Battlefront 2, which features Iden Versio as its main protagonist, though there are missions where you play as Luke Skywalker or Han Solo, Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith, an expansion for Dark Forces 2 that features Mara Jade as its star, and Star Wars Jedi Starfighter, which has Adi Gallia as its lead, although it takes place almost entirely in the cockpit of a ship, there are no other Star Wars games that lock you in as a female character. But there are plenty of them that make you play as a male character, from the wildly popular Star Wars Jedi games to the Force Unleashed series, and all the movie tie-ins in between, or they let you choose between a male and female character. Whether it's the LEGO games, or a handful of Star Wars Episode 1 spin-off games, or Knights of the Old Republic and other MMOs, as you can imagine, that choice often keeps misogynists quiet. But Kay Vess is the female version of many Star Wars characters. A rogue, a rebel, a scoundrel, and a rapscallion. She could easily step into Han Solo or Cassian Andor's boots. She's got an adorable companion creature, just like Jedi Survivor's Cal Kestis, and she's got that smirky sass that makes so many other Star Wars scumbags so lovable. On paper, she's the perfect lead for an open-world game about outlaws. It's just the fact that she's a she that's the problem. Yes, of course, nothing screams self-awareness like complaining about the lack of female protagonists in Star Wars games while listing a bunch of female protagonists in Star Wars games. While I think the character customization point comes down to a matter of personal preference, there's no reason why men or women can't enjoy playing a game that locks you in as the opposite gender. There's a reason why this article is focusing on the negative perceptions around Kay Vess while ignoring the lack of any such negative spin on characters like Adi Gallia, Mara Jade, or Iden Versailles. The supposed lack of female representation in these games didn't affect their performance, so what gives? These racist, sexist misogynists are being selective with their bigotry? Or maybe, just maybe, gamers are actually judging the quality of these characters based on that and not their race or gender. Also, is this supposed to be an example of some of that smirky sass that makes Han Solo and Cassian Andor so lovable?
Busy night? You're not getting in, Kay. Club's already got enough rats. Really funny.
No? Well, maybe it's in one of these moments.
We've got to go. You'll get paid once we're safe. You have our word.
Wait! Nobody move. You either pay me now, or just pay me.
We're the Rebel Alliance.
So?
Windows closing.
Join us and fight the Empire for the future of this galaxy.
What's it pay?
We don't have time for this.
Kenny, wait!
Are you alright?
Seriously, Gadik? You're the last person I expected to work with the rebels.
Good thing he does. Otherwise, you'd be dead. The Viper droids are getting more aggressive. We need to launch our assault.
Assault?
You're going to infiltrate the base, while my team blows open a path to extract the asset.
Sounds fun. Except last time I worked with rebels, I got a death mark. Save the galaxy yourself. I'm walking. You ready?
Wiped everything I could find. They won't be using my plans again.
You sure you won't stay?
Our fight is somewhere else.
Yeah, in a rich guy's mansion.
You've got all the firepower you need. Just don't turn your back on him.
The moment you leave, the Empire's gonna throw everything they can at you.
We'll shake them.
If you don't, we never met. The fate of the galaxy could depend on it.
Man, you guys never stop talking, huh?
Oh no, I got it. It's definitely one of these moments.
Death mark. Death mark. Death mark. A death mark.
Looks like she needs to find her nearest medical droid and get that death mark checked out. At the end of the day, the community at large is not crapping on this game because Kay Vess is a minority female. And I'm not wholesale denying that it happens. We are on the internet after all. From what I've seen, most of the criticism surrounding this game revolves around its lackluster presentation, its bad stealth mechanics, as well as the numerous glitches found at launch. Other YouTubers have demonstrated the severe lack in quality between this game and other Ubisoft titles. For the author of this article to seriously contend that Kay Vess stands with the likes of Sam Fisher not only demonstrates her ideological motivation, but also her lack of gaming literacy. But then again, why would you engage with serious critiques like gameplay issues and bugs, whenever you can just call your detractors racist, sexist, homophobes? Look, whatever your personal opinions are about individual titles within the Star Wars franchise are, being a fan doesn't mean mindlessly consuming whatever slop developers toss on the plate. If a game isn't good and its popularity suffers as a result of that fact, no amount of ideological framework is actually going to change that fact. And while there are arguments to be made about games being inherently political, that exists within the context of entertainment. By and large, people aren't playing games to have their politics affirmed, they're playing games to have fun. And while having a female protagonist in your games isn't an immediate death sentence, insulting the core demographics of your player base by calling them racists, incels, and chuds certainly is. Now, there is a second part of this article that I want to cover more in depth in a separate video because it goes into detail about women in games in general. I think it's kind of funny because they lace in a bunch of caveats and try to preempt any arguments to the contrary by presenting a bunch of examples of female-led video games as though that proves their point rather than working against it. But like I said, I will cover all of that in another video. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, and until next time, love you guys, safe travels.